After the Christmas break, two twin sisters, Alicia and Ada, came to visit their mother. However, one of the sisters has a boyfriend from Thailand who she visited right before her mother. Can you tell which one? Norway is a cold country in the north. Also, it's winter, but unlike her twin sister, Ada is tanned. It's probably because she just spent her vacation in some warm country, like Thailand, at her boyfriend's place. So it must be her. A chemist has discovered a new element. 3 days later, he suddenly disappeared. Ben, his intern, is supposed to finish the scientist's work. However, all the data is on the chemist's computer, and Ben doesn't know the passcode. He only knows that the passcode is his daughter's name, which the scientist has never mentioned. Luckily, there's a hint. Can you guess the daughter's name? Her father is a chemist, so the key must be something related to chemistry. How about the periodic table? The 9th element is fluorine, which is F. The 53rd element is iodine, and that's I. Then there's 8, which is oxygen, or O. And the 11th element is sodium, which is Na. So the daughter's name is Fiona, and that's the password. Mr. and Mrs. Murphy are having a walk in a park with 3 girls, Adeline, Kaylee, and Sienna. 2 of them are their nieces, and the other one is their daughter. Can you tell which girl is the daughter? Their daughter is Adeline. Look, both Mr. and Mrs. Murphy have blue eyes. It means that their daughter can only have blue eyes too. Adeline is the only girl with blue eyes. 3 girls, May, Reagan, and Tessa, came to a private party and said that they're world-famous top models. However, 2 of them lied. Can you guess which one of them told the truth and is really a famous top model? She must be wearing a real designer purse and not a copy. Look, the logos of Reagan and Tessa's Dolce & Gabbana purses are wrong, so these girls must be lying. It seems like the real model is May. Gabriel noticed a beautiful woman in a park and came up to meet her. They talked for hours and, among other things, he learned that she's a music teacher, has 3 siblings and a niece. Gabriel asked her out on a date, but the woman said she'd only agree if he guessed the name of her niece. Gabriel says it's impossible and asked for a hint. The woman said just 2 words, 3, 6. Can you help Gabriel guess the name? Remember, she's a music teacher, so it must be somehow connected to music. Let's recall the musical notes: do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. The 3rd one is mi, and the 6th one is la. If we put them together, we get Mila. That must be the woman's niece's name. Voila! It's date night. At the end of a school break, Elle returned to her class to find a short love note on her desk. She looked around to see who it could be from, but she couldn't tell. Still, she had 3 suspects: the students who'd always been especially nice to her. She asked them directly if they wrote her a note. Martin said he had been busy finishing his homework. Owen said he had been scrolling through his social media feed and hadn't written any notes. Leanna denied writing a note too and said that she'd been in the bathroom. However, Elle still guessed who wrote the note. Can you? Look, Leanna's hands are covered in ink. If she really was in the bathroom, her hands would be clean. So she must be lying, and she must be the one who wrote that note. Hey, don't be shy. After a summer break, all students returned to school. 4 friends started to talk about what they had been doing all summer. It turned out that all of them had been traveling. Addison said she and her family had taken a trip to Moldova to visit her grandma. Ash said he and his girlfriend had spent the whole 2 months in Venezuela. Joshua said he'd visited Narnia, and Kira had been to several Asian countries. However, one of the friends actually stayed at home the whole time. Can you tell who? It's Joshua. Narnia is a fictional country. He probably had a movie marathon that summer. Dan found himself in a dark dungeon and couldn't remember what happened. But he didn't mind because right in front of him there were 3 chests. One of them was full of gold coins, another was full of silver coins, and the third one was full of diamonds. He could take any one of the chests with him. However, outside there was a vampire waiting for him. What should Dan do? Dan should take the chest with the silver coins. Vampires are afraid of silver, so he'd be able to walk past the vampire. Ka-ching! Ms. Harrelson reported that someone had broken into her house and stolen her grandma's golden watch. Detective Callum was up for the case and interrogated the woman. Ms. Harrelson said she had been vacuum cleaning upstairs when she heard some scratching on the door, followed by footsteps. She was afraid, so she didn't go downstairs until the burglar was gone. When it was over, she found that her watch was stolen. Detective Callum refused to start the case and said that the woman was lying. Why? Ms. Harrelson said that she had been vacuum cleaning when she heard the noise. It just wouldn't be possible because the vacuum cleaner is very noisy and she couldn't possibly have heard anything. Once, a prison guard accidentally overheard very disturbing rumors. Someone was planning a prison break. The guard watched all the footage from the surveillance cameras and discovered that 2 women had been behaving suspiciously. One of them was a former bodybuilder, muscular, with short hair, and covered in tattoos. The other was quiet and reserved. She preferred to spend time on her own and sometimes cried in her cell. After watching the video several times, the guard figured out which woman was planning to escape. Can you do the same? It's the second prisoner. There's a file in her bun. She can use it to get through the metal bars. Mark comes up to the table. There are 3 apples, but only one of them is safe to eat. The other 2 are poisonous. Unfortunately, Mark can't skip breakfast. So, which apple should he eat? Look, this apple has a caterpillar in it. It means there's no poison in the fruit and it's safe to eat. These 3 women, Jessica, Mary, and Olivia, went shopping. 2 of them are pregnant and one is just trying to steal a watermelon. Can you tell which one is hiding a watermelon? It's Olivia. She's wearing heels. It's not the kind of shoes a pregnant woman would choose to wear. Nathan, a successful entrepreneur with a multi-million-dollar business, and his friend Jackson, a famous private detective, returned from a long-term trip abroad. They decided to stop by at Nathan's villa on the way to the city. When the men entered the house, though, they saw that everything more or less valuable had been taken away. The entire villa was a mess. "I've only been away for a month. What happened here?" exclaimed Nathan. Jackson took an apple from the dining room table and started to munch on it thoroughly. "The lock isn't broken. It means the person who took your stuff had the key." After a while, the detective asked Nathan to invite 3 people. Mia, Nathan's niece, told Jackson she hadn't visited her uncle's home. She had been having serious problems with her car for already 2 months. And the villa was too far away from the city to get there by public transport. Sarah, the maid, claimed that she had stopped by several weeks ago to bring some food and tidy up, but since then she hadn't been to the villa. Adam, the gardener, told the detective he had been on vacation and had just returned. He even offered to show his plane tickets to Jackson. The detective figured out immediately who was behind the mess. You have 8 seconds to figure it out. It was the maid. She said she brought food several weeks ago. but the apple Jackson grabbed from the table was perfectly fresh. Once, Ms. White heard someone crying. It was her little student Abigail. The girl told the teacher her cookies had been disappearing from her locker. Someone had been taking them for already several weeks, but Abigail didn't know who. Ms. White decided to help the girl. They equipped the locker with a simple alarm that had to go off if someone who wasn't Abigail opened the door. They hid behind the corner and began waiting. In 10 minutes, they heard the alarm. When they reached the locker, it was already empty, and there was no one nearby. But Ms. White noticed somebody disappear behind the art room door. She rushed inside, but everything looked normal. And still, the teacher needed no more than a minute to understand who had been eating Abigail's cookies. Look at the picture of the art room carefully. Can you find out the answer within 8 seconds? It's the girl on the left. Her painting's black and white, but there are only various shades of blue on her palette. And maybe the cookie crumbs are a giveaway too. I don't know. One perfume company hires new staff. They must swear an oath of loyalty to the company if they want to get a job. 10 people are saying the words of the corporate oath simultaneously, but some of them are cheating. Help the directors figure out who these people are. This guy keeps his fingers crossed, and the man on the left is standing with his legs crossed. They won't be loyal to the company, so the director doesn't hire them. 2 influential media moguls are having lunch at an expensive restaurant. They're discussing the merger of their companies. The transaction amount is several $billion. They're whispering since the terms of this deal are top secret, and they suspect that someone can hear them. And they're right. Some curious people are eavesdropping on the conversation between the 2 businessmen. Try to find them. The girl at the next table is reading a newspaper that is turned upside down. She's obviously trying to overhear what the billionaires are talking about. This guy over there is listening to music, but the headphone wire is not connected to anything. Another girl is sitting at the table in the corner with a cocktail, but instead of an umbrella, there's an antenna in her glass. She's recording the conversation. "Where are my employees?" a boss shouts. He's furious because 3 people haven't come to the office. He calls each of them to find out the reason. All 3 tell him they got ill. The boss doesn't believe them, so they have to arrive at the office. Mary is wearing a warm jacket, hat, and scarf. She sneezes, coughs, and looks sick. Lori is walking on crutches. Her leg is in a cast. Sometime later, Michael appears. He's got a hand injury, and now he can't type. The boss is sure that one of them is faking. Who is it? Mike's left arm is broken, but his phone is in his left pocket. He must have used his broken arm to put it there, which means he's pretending. Apparently, he just didn't want to come to work. Ice will melt if you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. What am I? I'm an egg. You buy this thing to eat, but you never eat it. What is it? It's a plate. Mia was going back home one evening. It was 11 p.m., and she had to cross a small dark park in front of her house. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind. Someone grabbed her bag and ran away. The girl called the police, and they questioned 4 suspects. Jack said, "I was choosing an outfit for a party." Camilla was getting ready for her final exam at home. Andrew told the police he had been watching birds in the park. Nora was at her yoga class. After the interview, the police understood who was behind the robbery. Can you? It was Andrew. At 11 p.m., it's too dark to see birds. James left a folder with important documents on the table in his home office and went to a business meeting. When he returned, he found out that the documents had disappeared. James had 3 suspects. His brother said, "I've been swimming in the pool since you left. I haven't seen or heard anything." The cook replied, "Tomorrow we're having a party. I've been preparing the food." The security guard told James, "I've been outside all this time, checking the garden for mice." Who knows where the documents are? It's the security guard. His job description doesn't include pest control. Jake and Sarah are chilling at a luxury resort after an exhausting business conference. But something is wrong. What is it? The water in the pool is frozen. And what's wrong with this picture? Unlike her reflection, the woman isn't actually wearing any necklace. Let's check what your magic power is. Don't forget to keep track of your points. A. What's your favorite time of the day? Morning, evening, night, afternoon? I can't choose. B. What superpower would you rather have? Teleportation, super speed, telepathy, super strength, X-ray vision. C. Congratulations, you've got it now. But with great power comes great responsibility. How will you use it? Marry my crush, rule the planet, get rich, become a hermit in the desert. Save people. D. How do you get along with other people? I'm respectful and neutral. I can't imagine my life without my friends. I dislike other people. I'm slightly introverted. I enjoy the company of other people. E. What's your favorite color? Black, red, blue, yellow, purple. F. A magician needs a crystal. Pick the one you like most. Red ruby, purple amethyst, white diamond, rainbow opal, black agate. G. What's your source of inspiration? Love, competition, art, nature, games. H. Which one is about you? I want to be popular. I'm pretty smart. I stay away from drama. I want everyone to be happy. I'll do anything to win. Now count your points and find out your magic power. 8 to 14 points, telekinesis, the ability to move and manipulate objects. 15 to 20 points, the magic of elements. You can control fire, water, air, and earth. 21 to 26 points, love magic. You have the ability to create perfectly matching couples. 27 to 33. Hypnosis. You can create very convincing illusions. 34 to 40. Healing. Your energy heals bodies and hearts. Look at the picture attentively. Can you see a car that came from a different time? Right, here it is. Look at the picture. What do you think is happening? Who is lying? If you chose option A, you're probably a very independent person. You prefer not to ask others for help even when you need it. And if you opted for option B, your family is the most important thing for you. You choose to care for others even if they're wrong. Gemma went to a restaurant with her fiancé Mike. Soon after they finished a delicious meal, Mike felt sick. Gemma called the ambulance and police. The detective interrogated the restaurant staff. The waiter said that she hadn't touched the food. She just took the order and passed it to the chef. The dishwasher said she always washed the dishes thoroughly with high-quality soap. The chef said that he had prepared the meal according to the order. Who is lying? The chef. Take a look at his locker and his tattoo. He is Gemma's ex-boyfriend. He poisoned Mike out of jealousy. Will worked at a coffee shop. One day, his wife, Diana, came over to visit him. Which of the customers is his real wife? Will is married to the woman on the right. They have similar tattoos on their necks. Other girls are random customers who just happen to have the same name. Greg and his daughter Mia went for a walk after spending a year apart. Look at these 6 people very closely. Which couple is the father and daughter? Right you are! Mad scientist Fred accidentally revived a mummy. His creature escaped from the museum. Following the mummy, Fred ran to the park. Look at this image. Can you help Fred find the mummy? It's over there, behind the ice cream stand.
3 girls are fighting over a doll. It belongs to one of them, but each of the 3 says it's hers. Who do you think the real owner of the doll is? It must be this girl. Look, she and the doll have matching outfits. It's Halloween, and some people got dressed as ghosts, but there's one real ghost among them. Who do you think it is? Look, this person doesn't cast a shadow. 3 friends went camping. 2 of them are real people, and 1 is a robot. Take a closer look at the photo of them and tell me who you think the robot is. It must be this guy. Take a look at the footprints each of them left. This guy's footprints are actually wheel prints, which is not very common for a real human. Amanda and her mom are participating in a game show. It's the final round, and Amanda's task is to figure out which of these 2 women is her mom. Both women are wearing masks, so Amanda cannot see their faces. Can you help her? Pay attention to the woman's hair color. Amanda is redheaded. This woman has red hair too, so I'd bet it's her mom. In any case, Amanda must know what color her mom's hair is, so she's safe here. Local police got information that their little town had been invaded. Officers started walking around asking for people's ID cards. I'll show them to you one by one, and you must decide who looks suspicious. For example, this one. What's your verdict? Look at this guy's birth year. No, it's definitely not a real ID. Here's another one. What can you say about this lady? Look at her place of residence. It's just the name of some place. There's no mention of a state or country. Nope, this person is suspicious too. The next person is this young lady, and here's her ID card. Do you see anything suspicious? She seems fine to me. I'd let her go. Another one. What about this person? This time, pay attention to this photo. All document photos should have a white background. This one isn't an officially issued ID card, so I'd say he's suspicious. I have the last suspect for you. What do you say? Is there anything we should be concerned about? No, he's okay. Let him go. A rich lady, Mrs. Reed, was looking for a person to clean her house every week. She invited 3 candidates and asked them why they wanted the job. Amelia said she wanted to earn some money during the summer to travel to another state with her friends. Colton said his mother forced him to do something in the summer so that he didn't play video games all day long. Danica said she was totally broke and needed money to survive. When they left, Mrs. Reed saw that her diamond necklace was missing. She guessed that one of the candidates had stolen it, so she invited them again. Take a look at them and figure out who the thief is. It's Danica. She said she was broke. The last time she was there, she was wearing old clothes. But look at her now. She has new clothes, gold earrings, and an iPhone. She must have stolen the necklace and sold it. On a snowy winter day, police got a call that one of the houses in the neighborhood had been robbed. A detective visited people living there, but everyone said that they'd been staying at home because of the weather. Still, the detective understood who was lying. This person became the main suspect. Who is it? It must be the person living in this house. He said he'd been staying at home, but he obviously parked his car after the snow had already built up on the driveway. So, the car was away for a while. Why would he lie? Another day, another crime. Mr. Spencer, a businessman, was robbed. He said he'd had a heavy safe full of cash in his bedroom. Now it was gone, and he was worried that he didn't have any proof that he'd ever possessed it. Still, a detective said that he believed the man and asked for details. How did the detective know the businessman wasn't a liar? Look, there's dents on the floor. Something really heavy was indeed standing there for a long time.
Karina was going to become a historian. After classes, she liked to go to the History Museum to read her books and learn new things. One day, while the girl was studying there, she went to the bathroom, leaving her stuff behind. When she returned, she discovered that her wallet was missing. Noelle said she never paid attention to Karina or her stuff. Tucker said that at that time, he was on the phone with his friend. Lyra said she hadn't stolen anything. Who lied? Tucker. It's prohibited to talk on the phone in the museum. Mrs. Moore had a rule. If her daughters wanted to eat ice cream in the evening, they had to do some housework during the day. On a rainy Tuesday, she came back from work and asked her daughters what they'd done. Charlotte said she'd vacuum cleaned the second floor. Indiana said she'd done the laundry. Polaris said she'd watered the plants in the garden. Who didn't eat ice cream that day? Polaris. She said she'd watered the flowers, but why would she do it if it was raining outside? Detective Callum is on a mission to find a vampire and an elf. He knows that the vampire lives in the red house on the left side of the neighborhood. Look closely at this family and find the vampire. It's this guy. He's walking past the mirror, but there's no reflection. Now back to the elf. He lives in the greenhouse on the right side of the neighborhood. Detective Callum has started to watch this building too. Luckily, he has only spotted 2 people. But who is the elf? It must be this guy. Look, his ears are pointed. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell called the police. They said that their son, a private school student, hadn't come back from school. The problem was that he suffered from amnesia. The police started to search the city. They found 3 teenagers with amnesia who didn't know their names or the names of their parents. And still, they managed to figure out who Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell's son was. Can you understand it? It's the guy in the middle. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell's son went to school in the morning and didn't return, so he must still be wearing his school uniform. Phoebus crossed the border of 2 countries every day, riding his bike and wearing a huge backpack. The custom officers checked his bag every day, but couldn't find anything prohibited. And still, they were sure that Phoebus was up to no good. They were actually right, but they couldn't understand what was wrong. Can you figure it out? Look, every time, Phoebus rides a different bike. He smuggles bikes right in front of their noses. Mrs. Adams came back home. She had 3 children who were grounded and not allowed to watch TV. When she was about to get into the house, she heard that the TV was on. But when she entered, it had already been turned off. Serenity was in the garden. She said she had been redoing her flower bed for the last couple of hours. Cressida was upstairs in her room doing her homework. Everett was in the garage playing the guitar. Who lied? Serenity. No one works in the garden wearing a dress. Also, she's completely clean and doesn't have any garden tools with her. Oliver is terrible at packing. Whenever he goes somewhere, he always takes the stuff he'll never need. Today, he's packing to go camping in the forest. Take a look inside his bag and decide what he won't need on the trip. Look, there's an electric kettle. There's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Now, look at what Oliver has packed for a weekend at his parents' house. What things won't he need? There are 2 huge towels. I'm pretty sure his parents have spare towels. He can leave them at home. Oliver is going on vacation to a deserted island. He will spend a couple of days there, trying to survive on his own. What things won't he need on the island? Oh boy, don't take this laptop with you. It'll run out of power really fast. Susie was finally going on vacation, and she was planning to spend it in Mexico. She lived alone, so she asked her friend to look after her plants and her cat. The friend agreed and took them to her house. When Susie returned, she realized that someone had been in her house while she had been away. How did Susie understand it? Susie lives alone, but look, several packages were delivered while she was away, and somehow they are inside, not outside the house.
Detective got a call from the villa of a famous billionaire, Mr. Green, who disappeared this morning after he left home to play golf with his coach. Detective questioned all the witnesses. The housemaid said Mr. Green had breakfast and left at 10 a.m. Mr. Green's girlfriend said she left for a photo shoot early in the morning before he woke up. Mr. Green's personal golf coach said he had spent all day at home. The detective realized that one of the witnesses was lying. Who? The coach was lying. He had an appointment with a client. Anna was visiting her granny in the country. Granny decided to cook a special dinner and sent Anna to the forest to collect some mushrooms. Granny gave Anna a picture of specific mushrooms that she had to pick. This was very important because the forest was full of dangerous mushrooms. Help Anna to choose the right mushrooms. Well done. Mushrooms number 3 are perfectly safe. George and Henry met a gorgeous singer, Tara. Both men fell in love at first sight and invited her on a yacht. When all three arrived at the pier, each guy began to claim that he was a millionaire and owner of the yacht. Help Tara to find out which one is a liar. Look closely at the yacht. There is a plaid jacket that matches Henry's pants perfectly. At the same time, the watch at George's hand is cracked and shows 8 a.m., although it's evening time. It's unlikely that a millionaire would wear a broken watch. Mike and Wendy expected the newborn to arrive next week. Mike was painting walls but accidentally pulled his back, fell, and passed out. He woke up in the hospital. 3 women were standing in front of his bed. Each claimed that she had been Mike's wife. Help Mike to remember his real wife. The belly of the first woman is too small for a woman who is giving birth next week. The second woman is wearing high heels and her shoes are buttoned. The third woman's sandals are unbuttoned. She couldn't button her shoes on her own because of her belly. Look at the picture attentively. Find the odd kitten. That's right, the second kitten's paw is different from all the others. Tina had 5 sisters. One night, she woke up in the middle of the night because she heard a loud noise from her sister's bedroom, as if someone had slammed the window. Tina suspected that one of her sisters left a bed after lights out and hurried to check them. Tina inspected all 5 beds. Each sister seemed to be sleeping peacefully. Help Tina to determine which sister went for a walk after lights out and made so much noise. It was this sister in the third bed. Take a closer look. She crawled under the blanket wearing her dirty sneakers. Diana, her fiancé Tim, sister Sarah, and their puppy came to visit the groom's mother, Miss Wilson, at her house. Next morning, Diana found out that her puppy was gone. Diana questioned all 3 family members. Tim was hanging out with his ex-classmates. Sarah demonstrated a small kitty. She spent her time purchasing a new pet. And Miss Wilson tried to stay away from the puppy because of her severe allergy. Who is a liar? Miss Wilson lied about her allergy. She wouldn't have been able to stand next to the kitten. Betty had 3 daughters. One morning, her neighbor Lauren said she had seen one of Betty's daughters at a nightclub last night, but she wasn't sure which one exactly. Betty didn't allow her daughters to visit nightclubs, so she questioned all of them. Sam spent all night in a library. Gemma on a date with her boyfriend, Alex, but she returned home before midnight. Kelly said she was watching a series all night and didn't leave the house. Who is lying? Sam is lying. Look at her face and clothes. She's covered with glitter. Who needs glitter in a library? An elephant was sleeping and having a very weird dream. When he woke up the next morning, he found out that his shadow was gone. He was looking for his shadow all day and finally met a wizard. The wizard confessed that he had stolen the elephant's shadow, but the wizard was ready to give it back if the elephant managed to recognize it. Help the elephant to make the right choice. Yep, the second shadow fits perfectly. Kelly received an anonymous message that one of her teachers is a vampire. Look at the picture. Can you help Kelly to identify the real vampire? It's over here. She has an eye in her meal. Jane called the police to report that someone had broken into her house and taken her precious jewelry collection. She was washing her hair in the shower when she heard footsteps downstairs. She went down and found out that the safe was opened and all the jewelry was gone. When the detective heard this story, he arrested Jane immediately. Why? Jane couldn't hear footsteps while washing her hair in the shower.
There's a long night ahead, and you're feeling sleepy. You go to a small cafe to get a coffee. You give the money to the saleswoman and take the cup with the drink. You take a sip and realize the woman is in danger right now. How do you know that? "Help me" is written on the cup she's just given you. You decide not to leave the cafe and sit down at the table. You can see a man in a black raincoat and hood sitting at the other end of the room. The girl behind the cash register is looking at him wearily. You look at this visitor for a few seconds and realize he's a vampire. What makes you think that? It's night outside. You can see your reflection in the window. The hooded man is sitting by the window too, but isn't reflected in it. He's a vampire. The coffee has cheered you up a little. You're walking along the street, lost in thought. That's why you don't notice an open maintenance hole in front of you. You fall and find yourself in a dark sewer. Phew! Fortunately, you're not hurt. Shh! You can hear some noise at a distance. You turn on your flashlight and slowly walk forward. Soon, you come across a cage with several people inside. They say a mad scientist caught them and put them in this cage to conduct experiments. You need to free the prisoners. But where can you find the key? Carefully inspect the laboratory. One of the jars with chemicals standing on the shelf has a key inside. You take it out and are about to open the cage, but the scientist returns. He tells you not to do this. The people inside are actually mutant lizards. The scientist admits that he accidentally turned regular crocodiles into humans. The scientist managed to catch these monsters and put them in this cage. He's going to turn them back into reptiles and let them go. The prisoners say they are humans, and the scientist lies. Who do you believe? You decide not to open the cage. Inside, next to the people, you can see pieces of faded skin and scales. Snakes and other reptiles shed during molting. You believe the scientist, and he promises that he will soon fix everything. You're back in the street. It's as dirty and uncomfortable here as in the sewer. Nearby, a bolt of lightning strikes something. You hear someone screaming and run there. A multi-story building is on fire. An old lady is crying. She's left her cat in the apartment. Firefighters may not be able to save it, so you decide to do it yourself. You go up to the top floor using an old fire escape. It collapses behind you. Fortunately, you manage to jump into the window. You're in the old lady's apartment. Several floors lead to different rooms. You don't have time to check each of them. The fire is getting closer. Where is the cat? That door is scratched at the bottom. Those are claw marks. The cat must be there. You open the door and see a big black cougar. The fire is everywhere, and you can't go out through the main entrance. There is a window leading to the backyard and a fire escape. Where will you go? The fire escape collapsed when you were trying to get into the apartment. In the window, you see the tree.
4 beauty pageant finalists were preparing for their last performance.
Oh no!
Suddenly, Helen discovered that someone had ruined her evening gown. Helen questioned the other girls. Courtney said she'd been having her makeup done. The stylist could confirm that. Jennifer was too busy talking to the reporters, and Kelly was taking pictures for her Instagram. Who ruined Helen's outfit? It was Jennifer. Take a look at her hair. She's hiding scissors. Parents went to the country and left their son Jim and their dog Chuck alone for one evening. It was Friday night and Jim decided to throw a party. He invited 3 of his friends. When they came over, Chuck began to bark at the guests. So Jim locked the dog in his parents' bedroom. Half an hour later, Jim decided to visit the pet, but when he opened the door, he discovered the dog was gone, even though all the windows were closed. Jim questioned his guests. Rob had been playing video games. Nora had been recording a TikTok dance in the living room. And Dan had been making snacks in the kitchen together with Jim. Who stole the dog? Jim's parents pranked him. See? They're hiding in the bushes, and the dog is with them. Take a look at the picture. Can you spot a thief? He's hiding behind this tree. Look at these monkeys. 3 of them are different from the others. Can you see them? This monkey is holding its baby. This one hiding a banana. And this monkey is looking in the opposite direction. Nurse Zoe received an anonymous message claiming that a vampire had broken into the hospital. While inspecting the wards, Zoe ran into 3 people in the hallway: Jules, Sam, and Debbie. Help Zoe figure out which of them is the real vampire. Debbie has red lipstick all over her face because she came over to visit her boyfriend, Sam. Look, they're secretly holding hands. Sam also has traces of Debbie's red lipstick on his face and neck. And Jules is carrying a huge backpack with a red stain. She must have stolen some donated blood. Look at the picture. Who will manage to escape the prison? The first prisoner. The lock is already open in this ward, and the second prisoner has yet to pick the lock. Look at these women attentively. There's a thief among them. Can you identify the criminal? It's the third woman. She's holding the phone that belongs to the fourth lady. Her portrait is printed on the phone case. Nancy has been dreaming of visiting an exhibition of her favorite artist for ages. When the exhibition finally arrived in her town, Nancy called 3 of her friends to invite them to go with her, but they all refused. Wendy said she was going to a concert and had already bought the tickets. Shannon said she was sick and didn't want to leave home. And Vicky had to take her sister to a dance class. Nancy got upset and decided to put off her visit to the museum until the next day. After a couple of hours, Nancy looked through her friend's social media and got very angry. One of her friends lied to her. Who was the liar? It was Shannon. She's in Wendy's picture from the concert. In the morning, Dr. Jill arrived at the hospital and went to the ward to meet new patients. When Jill saw them, she understood immediately that one of the patients was fake. Which one? It's the first patient. The hair color of the woman in the photo is different from hers. Detective Daniel was asked to come to a hotel. Someone had robbed the most expensive room there. The detective checked the footage from the security cameras, but didn't see anything suspicious. He questioned the hotel guests. Karen showed him a theater ticket and said she'd visited the opera the evening before. Jane was very tired, so she went home and fell asleep. Harold spent his evening by the swimming pool and didn't notice anything suspicious. Can you help Detective Daniel to identify the robber? Jane was a hotel guest. Why would she go home to sleep? It was Halloween night, and Joy was preparing her house for a party. Suddenly, a group of people in scary costumes rang Joy's doorbell and shouted, "Trick or treat!" Joy went to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and found out that all sweets prepared for unexpected guests had disappeared. She called her three sisters and questioned them. Beth said she'd been taking a bath. Mary had been out buying decorations for the birthday party. And Erica was watching a tutorial. She wanted to have the best Halloween makeup. Which sister took the candies? Mary. She said she had bought some birthday decorations, but it was a Halloween party.